Martell was a little hot on the microphone, it sounded, but
Martell's always fucking hot.
look at me. Look at his feet.
Fucking look at them, buddy.
Your chickity check.
Big natural toes.
.com.
All right. So
that's terrible.
time for our annual season finale bottle kill episodes. This is part 1 of 3 recapping our trip on the Bourbon Trail. Brett, Dude, and Tyler sit down with our Bourbon Trail guests to discuss our experiences after day 1 on the trail, while killing not 1, but 2 bottles of bourbon. Listen to our shenanigans on this episode of The Bourbon Hunters. But before we get started, do you like our podcast? Do you like bourbon gear? Check out our website at www.bourbonhunters.com to check out our bourbon shirts and buy a Bourbon Hunter Kinsey Dram. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on our hunt for great bourbon. Reward yourself and sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy. Welcome to another episode of the Bourbon Hunters. I am Dude Poole. I'm joined by
Martell,
Jason C.
Tyler Schaefer.
Uncle Ron.
Brett.
and
Josh.
lean into the fucking mic.
Fucking Josh.
Oh.
Sit a little closer.
All right.
fucking
Sit in
Josh.
his
on his lap.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Big natural daddy.
Can I sit on my toe?
Get acquainted.
It's a sit and spin.
All right, so we're in Louisville. We're after 1 day on the Bourbon Trail for our 4th annual Bourbon Blitz. We expanded this year to 7 people from the normal 3 or 4. So you heard a couple of those newbies. We've got Ron, we've got Jason, we've got Martell and Josh, all newbies on the
The
Bourbon
trip,
Trail
not the
for
show.
this trip. Not newbies on the show. They've all been on the show except for Josh.
Nope.
So Josh is a Bourbon Hunters podcast virgin.
Oh, so we popped his cherry.
We have to be gentle. We have to be gentle.
He's also freeballing it.
So if you watch,
Forgot underwear.
Well, I shouldn't say watch. If you listen to the podcast, then you know that when we are on the Bourbon Trail, we always do our bottle kill episode the first night. Tonight we have a special fucking surprise because Ron brought a bottle of Booker's, and it is the 2018 batch 1, which is the which batch is that? Oh yeah, the names are over there. It's
Clarice.
Get his readers.
Clarice.
Kathleen's badge.
Kathleen's
That was
batch.
close.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad contrast. Anyway, Kathleen's batch. So you know about Kathleen's batch. You were talking about it beforehand. Give us a little intro into that.
Yeah, Kathleen Di Benedetto worked at the time, she was with Jim Beam for about 30 years. She's very closely connected with the Nose, and she helped launch. She was the brand manager for, I think, Booker's, Basil Hayden, all the small batch offerings. She helped launch those, and she got inducted into the Women's Bourbon Hall of Fame in 2015.
Nice. So this is a 2018 batch, kind of an ode to her.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So 3 years after getting into the Hall of Fame, you get a batch named after you in the
Look at that.
Booker's collection. That's a pretty big thing, I think. So we've got that on tap, and then we've also got a bottle on standby for a second bottle, which is the Luxro Double Barrel 12-year cask strength.
It's basically a blend of 2 12-year barrels from
Yeah.
Luxro. They blend them together and bottle it.
It's almost like he does this for a living. Interesting.
Do
All
I?
right.
Do I? Do what? Yeah.
At least as a supplement, anyway. So in the background, we might hear some cheering because we've also got the Utah UCL or USC Pac-12 championship game happening. And all right, so let's talk about today. I mean, it's been a long day, right? What time is it? It's 8:19. We started this morning at what time?
4:30.
Well,
I mean,
Some of us.
Yeah, you guys were in my driveway at like 5:45 this morning or something, 5:40. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
it was early, dude.
Some of us who coordinated this were late.
so I know that when I showed up at the main spot, I had 2 of the guys had their wives drive them, which I thought was awesome.
I think that's kind of a brilliant move, though, to be honest.
Yeah, you didn't have to leave your car at an undisclosed location, which I guess they won't be there by the time this publishes, so no big deal.
Well, yeah, they wouldn't be there because it'd be stolen or have their catalytic converters removed.
Well, they're going to be converted into Cadillacs. It's fine.
That's fine.
It's fine.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, Cadillac converter. So
Can't wait to get back and buy mine back.
So we left at about 6 a.m. on our way down, and as always, we stopped at Buffalo Trace, and much to Jason's happiness, it was a Blanton's day.
It was a Bland's
Yes,
day.
it
And as
was.
soon as he found out, he had to go back to the van, change his pants, and then we waited in line. It was a pretty damn big line.
It was a long line.
Yeah.
Did I change my pants?
Well, you
The
got so
line
you got
moved
so
quick,
excited,
though.
you had to
I got
change your pants.
so excited. Yeah, so we waited online. It was a hell of a lot of people. They said they had, we have plenty of Bland's for everyone. So we got in there, and they had a shit ton of Bland's today.
Now, we always tend to talk about the process, too. And I thought for as long as that line was, how many people would you guess were there?
Oh, at least 200.
Yeah.
At least.
And,
Yeah, it was.
And we got through there in, what, about 40 minutes?
Yeah, I'd say
Once
that.
they opened up the
Even
door.
shorter than that. They move like Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it was pretty damn quick. And I know they've had some growing pains in times past when I've gone to the gift shop, but I thought for sure this was probably one of the better experiences. It moved pretty damn well.
So this was my first experience being at Buffalo Trace. I haven't been there in a while. You know, I'm not really one to wait online for Bland's, but we were there. But doing the whole process where you go from line, you go into the check-in area, they give you the bracelet that gets scanned so they know what you're buying, when you're buying it, getting online. Probably, I would imagine there was a bunch of people getting Christmas gifts as well, people that want a bottle of Blanton's.
Yeah.
And then once you get scanned in, get your wristband, you walk over to the gift shop, walk through, get your bottle, jump online. And then it's kind of nice the way they laid it out because as you're online, you could kind of pick out clothes and get some other stuff.
I do really like that. The fact that once you're in line, and for at least today, it was a long line. There's a bunch of, I don't know if you call them little kiosks or not kiosks, little end caps
Yeah, end
with a bunch of
knickknacks
stuff.
all
yeah.
along
they
the
had
way.
shelves
and
with
you're-
knickknacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't have any patty wax. I was a little upset about that.
Yeah, no patty wax.
Only Nick.
They had dog bones, though.
They did.
It's nice too. You don't have to get your ID, right?
Yeah,
'Cause they've
dog
already
bones?
scanned your bracelet.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's
And so I think that
your
saves,
bracelet has the
it
RFID.
speeds up your checkout process.
Right.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
they're like, can I see your ID too? You
Well,
know, in
because
addition to paying.
before they got to that process, they had to scan your ID at the register so that you could then be put on the blacklist for 3 months for that product.
Yeah.
And now
Oh, man,
they do
there's
it at
a
the
lot-
check-in part.
There's so much shit to buy in there, though.
Yeah,
I
there
mean,
was.
yeah.
So today they had Wheatley's. They had that like $2,000 vodka bottle, whatever that's called. I can't remember.
Clicks.
Yeah, they had that.
I didn't
They
see
had
that.
Buffalo
I didn't see
Trace.
that
They
either.
had the Old Fashioned and Manhattan mixes. They had Sazerac Rye, actually.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Which is surprising that they had that the same day as they had Blanton's.
And then what was funny was once we got online, we were kind of working our way around. We got up to the far bar in the back of the gift shop, and then there was like 7 more carts filled with Blanton's back
yeah.
there.
It's like
I'm
on standby
this,
to be
this is
stocked.
a serious Blanton's day right now
Yeah.
happening.
I
I'm like,
feel like-
this is like my worst nightmare.
I feel like it's like that, whether it's Eagle Rare or Weller or E.H. Taylor or whatever, they always have that cart sitting there ready on standby for refilling as it goes. But yeah, it seems to be.
How many different barrels do you think they put out today?
I mean, for a what is it, 94 proof?
94 proof. 93 proof.
So I mean, that's 100 and probably to 220 bottles or something like 180 to 220 bottles, depending on how.
Easily. And it's, remember,
So-
we're still looking at like a 4 to 5 year old product these days.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's probably
So-
closer. It's probably pushing on well over 200, like 220, 225.
Unaged, how many bottles would you get out of a barrel?
Unaged.
Unaged.
So just 53 gallons, you mean?
Yes.
Just fucking do the math.
Do
I
the
don't.
math.
I don't know. That's. I mean, I'm
There's
really
like
surprised you don't know
3
this.
It's a
3
lot. It's probably
3.2 liters in a gallon. I think I can't remember.
there's apps for that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you guys could do the math.
it's
We're not
probably
gonna try the
like
math.
275 or something like that.
Sure.
I'm sure you lose a pretty good amount in those first couple of years. And
Yeah, there's definitely
there's
always
a percentage.
There's
they say
always
you
some
lose.
angel share
Yeah.
involvement there, obviously, and then once you bottle it and once you proof it down, you're already looking at a bunch. I would guess that at Bland's nowadays, 93 proof, 4 to 5-year-old product, you're probably looking at least 250 bottles.
Yeah.
You know what's weird though, Jason? You pointed this out. The bottles that we purchased, they were bottled over a year ago.
Yeah.
So they've been just sitting somewhere on a shelf.
Well,
for
that
over a year.
wasn't the Blantons that was.
No.
Oh, no, that was our next stop.
We'll get to
over
that.
at-
Oh, I thought that
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
Blantons.
No.
that was the Wild Turkey.
Oh, well, fuck me then.
No, Blanton's was
Well, I mean, you play your cards
October.
right.
was
It
mine was
October.
November.
I thought.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
heard you guys with that conversation. I thought you were talking about the Blantons.
Yeah, and that was
No,
the
we were
Russells.
in line because one of his sources let him know that it was there.
Sources.
So,
Gotcha.
So that's a good point. While we were in line waiting for the blends, we get we get a message that Russell's, a pick of Russell's that's 10 years old was from Warehouse H.
Okay.
K. Oh, Warehouse K. That's right. Yeah. So Warehouse K was being released today, and they had 90 bottles available at the
Well,
gift
big
shop today.
big shout out to Bo Garrett. I
I didn't know if you want to give up your source.
I told him about the podcast, and
Oh, did you?
he's
Cool.
like, "Oh, I gotta listen to that one," so he's gonna do that. But Bo Garrett's not only guitarist from Montgomery Gentry, but he is nobody knows who he is. He is one of the great tour guides over at Wild Turkey. So I have a pretty good relationship with him. I'm like, "Hey, you're gonna be in there?" He's like, "Yeah, hey, by the way, we have this Warehouse K pick, not many bottles." And then we're looking at the bottle date, and yeah, it was
a year old.
It was bottled a year ago. Or I'm sorry, it was dumped a year ago.
Dumped a year, yeah.
Yep. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, why the big delay in getting this bottled?" And basically he said because of the how popular the single barrel program have gotten. Just there's so many backed up, bottles.
And
So
they knew this one was going to be a visitor center.
Yeah, so they dumped it.
So
and
no
it's
rush.
been sitting in a tank
Yeah.
or a tote for a long time, for a year.
Wow.
But it's a 10-year-old pick from Warehouse K, so yeah, we were all over that. And we got a Kentucky Spirit pick on top of it.
We did, yeah. And did you find anything out about that Kentucky Spirit pick?
It's
Was
just
there
a
any-
Warehouse B, that's all I know.
I didn't know
Okay.
that was a pick. I just thought it was.
Well, Kentucky Spirit's always a pick.
They're all picks, yeah.
They're single barrels. They're Wild Turkey 101 single barrel.
But I did was there anything special about that pick?
Yes,
Just-
it was an individual barrel that was available in the visitor center today.
It's not that special.
So before we
Sounds
get,
special to me.
I mean, it was special enough for me to buy.
I mean, 10
Tyler,
years
did
for
you
the
buy one?
Russell.
Did you buy
no,
one?
No.
Well, then it wasn't special for you. It was special for us.
Okay.
So real quick, let's nose this. Let's all get our nosing hats on.
Tyler, to answer your question,
I've already been
53
drinking this.
gallon
I have been too,
barrel.
but we
Oh, I
haven't
did the
talked
math,
about
too.
53. Did you get 267 bottles?
But that's
262.
But that's without it being proofed down too.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah. That would be
That's
That's a
straight-
standard if a barrel was filled.
that's with
completely,
white dog, and then
unaged.
immediately emptied once it touched
Yeah.
the wood.
Yeah,
I got 262 and,
And
then like
that's
some decimal
that would be at
places.
125 proof most likely.
Yeah.
So you'd have
math.
to then you'd have to
You wanna-
proof that
okay, we'll
down.
redo it.
So
Yep.
all right. So let's nose this. Brett, what do you get on the nose, buddy?
The schnoz is alive.
The schnoz is alive. I had jalapeno margaritas at the last place.
You should go ahead and get a picture of
That
this.
woke up your senses.
dark fruit, caramel.
Fruit?
Dark fruit.
I get dark fruit.
The Scottish version.
That's why I like this batch of Bookers. There's those ones that I look for with that dark fruit note.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that very often in Bookers, but on this one you do.
I get some orange on the nose.
Do you? That's the tea you had.
No, that was Earl
I
Grey.
tainted
Oh,
everything.
you didn't have the orange zest tea?
Yeah,
was
we
all
added
mixed.
that in.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever had marshmallow root, like the bittering agent marshmallow root?
I don't know that I
It has
have.
that
know.
like soft, earthy, fluffy kind of
Oh,
creamy note to it.
that sounds
It
delicious.
Comes off like vanilla bean,
Oh.
but has a wood note to it as well. They use a lot in bitters.
That's why
A
you're
lot.
on the fucking show, buddy. Right
Look
there.
at that.
Great.
A lot of
I'm
floral.
good.
Josh
So
bringing
that
in
was
the
Josh,
mixology
yeah.
shit.
Mixed
Look at that.
So former bartender, which I guess you're never just a former bartender, but
It never goes away.
yeah, you
He's
know.
always a bartender.
But you're always you're preparing food a lot. You cook. You
Do you like cooking or mixology more?
mixology.
Honestly, they're both their own little
Artisanal
craft. I mean,
artisanal bartending.
if you think about it, bartending is really just cooking, but you get the same sort of experience with having all the different catalysts behind the bar.
Yeah.
So you start with your base, and then you get your different ingredients, your fresh fruits, your aromatics, your spices, and then your different things to really open it up. You add the oxygenation into it, the aeration, which helps open up the esters, the aldehydes, and the all of the other esters as well. And
All the other esters.
esters. Well, I mean, it's all organic chemistry getting into it at that point. But once you add all those components, it's just like cooking a really nice like complex meal.
Okay.
Esther.
I'd
Holy
say,
shit.
honestly,
She died 20 years ago.
Mixology.
I'm not going to lie, but Brett's penis just moved. All that science.
Towards you.
I heard it.
Yeah,
So-
I heard it too. It was evident through that mic.
Dude's being dude right now. Go ahead.
Fair enough.
What?
I'm like,
He
goddamn.
was done. He was done.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, I'm good.
He was
I'm
done.
good with that.
I knew when to come in and fucking
Yeah, you do.
catalyst it to the next.
That's a lot more than I knew.
More, but it's a mouthful.
It's way more than I knew.
Hey-o.
I'm more of like, can you just throw some maple in here and maybe a piece of bacon?
Fair enough.
Just mix it together.
That's those are the catalysts for the esters.
There's still a little bit of that nice nuttiness.
So you
in
said
Jim
dark
Beam.
fruit as well, or
So
were you just
yeah,
being
I do get
Scottish?
dark fruit. I did say like like flower, like that pollen taste to me.
All right.
I can taste in this, and then I do want to throw in there probably oak and a little bit of like that leather taste.
Yeah.
What was the age on this? Did you say that already?
I didn't say anything
know
about
someone
this.
did.
The one who introduced it is in his phone right now. So, what's the age on this? Do you know?
Generally, these are 6.5 years old. It's on.
it-
It's
yeah,
on.
does it-
It's on
Does
the
it tell
sticker.
you? Okay, I'll look at it. I'll try to read this.
6 years, 3 months.
There we
7
go.
days, I think it is.
6 years, 3 months, 14 days.
Woot.
There you go.
There you go.
Call it a shot. And just so you guys know, this is over half empty already. So that's why we have a second bottle.
Most that's in your glass.
He did have a big pour.
I did have a Tyler pour. Tyler, what do you get, buddy?
I need to let this hit a few more times.
Okay, fair enough.
Taking a Friday date.
Jason?
This has always been one of my favorite batches, to be honest. I
drank my tea
I
first.
loved Kathleen's batch when it first came out.
Yeah.
Just, again, that level of dark fruit that it has, I think it just like kind of sets it over the edge. It's not just like that dry peanut shell, caramel, vanilla that you normally get from a Booker's. This has a little bit more levels to it. I think I also remember reading from the story that Kathleen D. Benedetto, she actually sat down and helped select this one. So she was looking for something with a little bit more depth, flavor to it.
Nice.
What did you say the proof was on this?
127.
I don't know that we did say.
With as high as that is, it's super soft.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it is
really- it's
not very harsh at all.
127.4 to be exact.
Nice.
This is
ahead.
worlds better than the Little Book. I know it's not really a great comparison, but it's worlds better than the Little Book I have.
Well, I mean,
Which-
little
which
book's
Little
a
Book do you
different.
have?
it was
Yeah,
the
this
this
year's.
year's.
Yeah, we
Is
can't
that
really compare. I mean,
Little
Yeah.
book's a whole different.
Would that be
experiment.
5?
I mean,
Is this year's 5?
this year's was.
It's got to be 5, right? Last year's
I
4?
think it's 5. Yeah.
and-
This is the one. This is one they use. They're really young. They use 2-year-old.
but they
whiskey
mix in
and-
tons of different things. Like 1 year, I think they did a rice whiskey, right? And they've
That's
done,
what was in this. Oh no, that was the.
that was last year, I think.
No, that was.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago. The rice one.
But yeah, that's a whole different experiment technically. So
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to be comparable in the sense that, other than do you like it, or do you like this?
I think
or
the one
whatever.
thing you can compare to it is the Knob Creek 9-year single barrel.
yeah.
Because folks that don't want to pay the money for Bookers anymore, you could just get a Knob Creek 120 proof.
Dude, I love the Knob 12 year. It is fantastic.
The Knob 12-year, I think, is one of the best buys.
I mean,
money,
we're
for the money. Yeah, that's a
pretty consensus that the 15-year sucks.
Yeah, I haven't had the 18, but the 15, I would have to
I
revisit.
will say that when we had it with a whole bunch of other 15-year-old type things.
And wasn't it like just open that day as well?
And it was just open. I'd like to revisit it and see.
Yeah.
And put it in a blind.
Yeah. And I think
Everything that we hate,
I think that
we
we
should come back to in a blind.
Yeah, that's fair.
a
And
bunch
put
of
them against each
15-year-olds.
other.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
That's a great call.
Put them
Yeah.
against each other.
I do live streams, but I do live streams like that. I just like title them "Was I Wrong?" So I just like go back to bottles that I gave an unfavorable review to.
Did you,
Well, I just
did
think
you ever
fair.
go back to the Stag Batch 1? Did you ever do that yet?
Not yet. That's gonna be my next short video.
Oh,
But
nice.
it just kind of that episode of the Four Blind Mice that we did, the bottles I brought really kind of opened my eyes of
Because they were things that you thought you were going to like, and you're like, oh, wait a
I
second.
mean, we've liked them in the past, and then
Right.
all of a sudden you kind of put them together, and it was like, I mean, we didn't really like any of them.
Well, I can
until
always
the-
say sometimes that's your palate that day. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
what they're up against. I mean, it can be a lot of different things. The order in which you drink them.
yeah.
I always think that's the biggest underlying factor that nobody realizes.
The order
how
that you
to
drink
get.
them
It's
in?
the order.
Yeah,
it's
agree.
absolutely the order.
That's why you
Do
always
are
do a
you
primer.
pretty strategic about your primer?
I just usually pick a 100 proofer. That's
Something
nice and
lower
easy.
proof or-
Something
yeah.
anywhere 90 to 100 proof. It just kind of primes the palate and just get it ready.
Get rid of the visceral reaction or the
Yep.
first drink of liquor.
Rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, that's what I usually use. Sometimes methanol.
Yeah,
mouthwash
that
is
works
great.
great.
Methyl alcohol. Martel, what do you get on the nose? Anything?
A little bit of nuttiness, dark fruits, leather, and then a little bit of like cigar smoke.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good call. On
Yeah, there's some
smokiness,
tobacco. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Booker's does some more batches than other do have more of an intense smoky note to it, almost like a barbecue smoke
What do you
coming
get
from
on
that
this,
barrel
Josh?
char.
On this, on the nose, I already went with that, but on the palate, I would say there's a lot of like sassafras, a little bit more cinnamon, brown sugar, maybe toasted brown sugar.
I get, interestingly enough for me, I get a lot of vanilla on the back of the tongue, like as it's finishing. And then it transforms like as it gets to like the kind of oaky, smoky, leathery type of finish. It's like vanilla. It's like a vanilla burst right into that.
For me, it's vanilla extract though, as opposed to like.
Yeah, I'm probably not that good at determining the difference.
Yeah,
but yeah, I could see that.
It's just vanilla extract's like more like robust.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it wraps up with that vanilla and that like that Booker's, that punch of like almost like a charred orange peel,
Right.
which gives you a little bit of the smoke, that citrus,
Yeah.
all like kind of finishing.
I don't know that I think it's that visceral, but
Viscous?
visceral.
Visceral is
Visceral is like
react-
harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Like when you
for
salivate.
127, that and I should say viscous as well. But it does.
Good save.
It does.
Good save.
But it both.
She just like brushed his shoulder off.
this bottle is visceral.
But it coats well. It coats the mouth well, and I think that it finishes long as well.
Yeah, I think the finish is great, but it is very ethanol heavy in the finish.
You
But
think-
I also get
I
some
don't
of
get
the.
that.
Yeah, I'm not getting.
Yeah, I
I'm not
get
getting
that.
all
No.
alcohol.
I get it.
You're wrong.
The first drink I did, but then once my palate became accustomed, I was
Yeah.
I get the proof, but I'm not
Yeah.
tasting ethanol.
right.
Yeah,
You know,
I guess. But I guess what I mean by that is the finish. I'm getting all the flavors, but I feel like most of the length of the finish for me is
that
the
damn tea.
proof
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing. I don't mind.
No,
that.
I mean you're gonna get that with Booker's. I mean it's a
Yeah.
6-year-old,
Yeah.
center of the rickhouse high proof bourbon, so you're gonna get a little bit of harshness. Now the one I just reviewed actually a few weeks ago, which was the wasn't the lumberyard batch.
I have that one. I don't think I like it very well, if I remember.
Yeah, that one was okay. But the one I just reviewed actually it drinks really soft. Like for a Booker's, it's unreal, and it's really intensely sweet, and it kind of finishes out pretty. Oh, it's the Kentucky tea batch. That's the one.
I haven't had.
You say
haven't tried
Kentucky
that.
tea bag?
Kentucky tea batch.
Tea
I'm
bag.
just all about the tea
Kentucky
tonight.
tea bag.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
So
That's a pretty sweet owl mug, by the way. I just noticed that.
Oh
What?
yeah, that is the mug.
owl mug?
Yeah.
That's
That's
courtesy
nice.
of our hosts.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
They
Oops,
showed us
yeah.
their Hooters.
I think to Dude's point,
Shout
too,
out Airbnb.
Maybe one of the more, I don't know, not necessarily, like, I think this is absolutely incredible, but one of the more disappointing things for me is you get a lingering finish on the forefront and then the very back, but right in the middle of the tongue, the palate, it's just kind of, it tapers off, and there's nothing to hold it steady.
That
So-
might be the lack of visceral,
The lack of a visceral
viscosity.
reaction.
That might be the lack of the viscosity Tyler was trying to talk about. But just
Yeah, I will say. I
said the wrong
mean,
word.
I know Fred Minnick when he talks about whiskey, he likes to feel it like on the sides of his tongue.
Yeah.
and he likes it to tingle. You don't really get that with this.
Yeah,
agree.
I could see that.
There are some things like what you're saying that hit me in the sides of the tongue, and you're
Yeah.
like, whoa. It just
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just lights up your palate.
When you're not
call
ready
it,
for it, it's
Yeah.
kind of a shock.
I call it the Pop Rocks effect. Like when you just kind of
Oh,
have
yeah.
like that it just
Everywhere.
tingles
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I love that in whiskey because you know it's just going to stick around. Something you can enjoy all night, like a little bit of a pour.
And that's like the tannins of wine. It gives you extra structure, too.
Yeah.
So it's more memorable.
Yep.
So we left Blantonsville and Buffalo Trace. We went over to Wild Turkey to get the Russells that we had heard about. Wild Turkey, right now, their visitor center is closed, so they have a pop-up across the street. And so
Yeah, right across the street from our house A and B.
yeah, so we went over there. It's a nice little house. It's kind of a neat little.
I think pop up doesn't really do it justice because it's like a
It's
full-on
it's like a
building.
brick and
Yeah,
mortar
it's-
store. When you
yeah.
said pop up, I
Well,
thought it was like.
I thought it was
fucking
literally a
It's-
fucking
it's not
tent.
going
But
anywhere.
nowadays
Yeah.
with retail, pop-ups just mean that they took over a space
Yeah.
temporarily. That's all.
It's
That's
like
all
a
pop-up
kiosk
means.
in the middle of the mall.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. When
Would
were
you like
saying
some
pop-up.
lotion?
Seriously.
like Lululemon, they do pop-ups in a retail environment where it's not like just a fucking tent. They take an empty
right.
retail place, they temporarily fill it, and it's there for 2 or 3 months, and then it goes away.
We have
to go.
someone here that
Way to go, Lululemon.
Sells skinny pants.
Yes, all the skinny
Someone
pants.
says, "Oh, you work for Lululemon?"
I don't
All
sell
the
them. I just
skinnies.
make sure they get to who's buying them. That's my job.
So we go to Wild Turkey, their pop-up temporary brick and mortar. Is that better,
Yes.
you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
It clarifies for the
Those
listeners.
Yeah.
not in the know.
And we did get to see Bo Garrett there. He was there, like
Yeah,
he
he was
said
there.
he would be. We found the pics, found a couple of other things, checked out, and then
It's a cat.
got another.
There was a pretty cool cat just chilling in there.
Then I got another message.
Oh yeah. So
Yes,
well before
Yes, he did.
so at that visitor center they had the Russells, the 10-year pick, and then they had the Kentucky Spirit that was available there. They had a couple of other just regular like their shelfers and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Nothing else special. I know last year when we went there that day they had the Masters Keep 1. So that was kind of a neat. 2 years in a row now they've had something.
And I don't know if you guys noticed, they had the new labels for the 10-year,
Yeah.
the Ride.
I saw that.
the single
Yeah.
barrel had a different label
Yeah,
too.
had their new look labels already.
Yeah,
God, I
so
feel
that-
like Wild Turkey changes their label game like every
Or
couple
bo-
of years.
or bottle.
The bottle too. Yeah.
Right. The embossed turkey on it now.
Yep.
So yeah, you got another message.
Yep. Got another message saying, "Hey, was just at Four Roses. They have a couple picks at Four Roses. Go get it." So we're like, "Well, we're only about."
Well, we didn't know they had 2 picks, right?
we didn't know we had 2. He just said that he had gotten.
Did he know they had 2? Because he may not have known.
I don't know. He just said they had that OBS. Was it the OBSV?
Right, and then but you and I ended up when we got up there, we got the OBSF.
Yeah, we got the OBSF
Right.
because So both of the selections were selected by the Bourbon women.
Yeah.
Of Kentucky, who I think Peggy No Stevens is in that group, and just some really great palates. So they do a lot of picks for some of the distilleries in and around Kentucky, and they had 2 different picks. So one of them, when we picked it up, ended up being the one we got,
Yeah.
which ended up being a tier 6.
Which
And-
wasn't the one we originally had went there for because we were
Exactly.
thinking OBSV and then they gave us OBSF and I'm like,
What? This is different.
yeah, and then someone else got an OBSV and I was like, well, wait a second. I was like, I think I want that, and then they said that's tier 1 and
And then I was like, oh no, I'm keeping the tier 6 then.
so I made 2 switches.
Yeah.
Switched and switched back.
So the different tiers. So Four Roses have very low set rick houses. They don't go up as high as like a Buffalo Trace or Heaven Hill. They're only 6 ricks high. So, but those ricks make a huge difference when they're aging. So rick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you think about it in terms of proof, those lower tiers are going to get a much lower proof point on them. And that one that was there was only 100 and what proof?
110, I think 109, something like that.
109, 110.
Yeah.
Whereas the tier 6 we got went way over
I
120.
will say we'll have to blind those 2 bottles.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Because
Yeah, we can do that.
because that one that I have, that Four Roses pick, that is what was that 112, 114?
We can do a Bourbon Trail recap episode where we open up all those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just for
I think it was
those of
fucking
you
great.
that are listening that may not know why this is the case, when you're in those higher points in the rick house, the temperature is obviously hotter. The heat rises. So what happens is the water evaporates and you end up with more of the actual alcohol. When you go lower in the rick house, it stays cooler. So instead of the water evaporating, the actual alcohol evaporates. So the proof point usually goes down a little bit. So that's why that happens. So when you go to buy, for example, everyone loves their Buffalo Trace. So if you go to buy a benchmark, those are they're usually located higher up in the rick house. Your Eagle Rares, Buffalo Trace, mid-range in that area. Your older things like your OFC, stuff like that, are going to be at the bottom of the rick house, and they age for a lot longer. So that's why that kind of importance. People will say that higher in the rick house ages it faster. It's more that it just actually gives it more contact with the wood, really. It accelerates the wood aging.
Yeah, you're getting
if you will.
more, in and out from the liquid coming, in
Right.
and out of the wood. So
So I wouldn't say it age. I mean, it's aging the same as the ones on the bottom, but maturing.
Contraction.
SMR. Or no, not SMR. What do they call it?
ASMR.
ASMR. I forgot the A. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure everyone understood why that was the case. So
yeah, so that's why like amongst Four Roses collectors, tiers can make a big difference on what they chase.
yeah, and tier is just another way to say floor number.
I mean, you get a lot of Four Roses. Is tier something you look at, or you look more at the recipe?
Yeah. Tier's always something you look at, especially from that, like you said, that higher level. Like to get those tier 6, they are usually higher in proof, and I think like I kind of flock towards the OBSF. For me, that mash bill mash bill B, which I want to say is 60% corn, 35% rye. That taste I really like. So I like a little bit of rye in it, but that mint taste is something I always go to. So like that OESF and that OBSF are like I always go for those first. So we got, to me, like we got really lucky. I felt like we got really lucky today, and like that's to me that's a unicorn. So
Nice.
I was excited for that.
I've never seen tackling so
not
bad as what we
nice.
just watched right now in this Utah
Yeah,
game.
finally got him down.
The quarterback just spun out of like 4 tackles, and they weren't even that good at
The
spins.
7-yard line.
So anyway, it was about a 50-yard run.
Yep.
Already 7-3 USC. It's not looking good for Ohio State right now. So yeah, I mean, we went there, and first thoughts on the new new visitor center at Four Roses.
That was the first time I saw it. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah,
I mean,
we saw it last
big,
year, but it
really
wasn't
big.
open yet. It was built, but not open. So
Yeah.
So last year on this trip, I think they opened it like middle of December last year. So it was like a week after we went or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, you can just see the trend across Kentucky. All the visitor centers getting bigger.
Yeah, Wild
I mean,
Turkeys
we
was
had
closed.
three.
They were doing it.
We had 3 examples today. Heaven Hill expanded their experience center. Buffalo Trace
They've done it
redid
twice.
theirs. Yeah, Four Roses. They redid theirs, all because to handle all the extra
And
volume
Wild Turkeys
of
in
visitors.
the process of doing it.
Wild Turkeys in the
Four
process.
Roses is beautiful. I mean, their other one was fantastic.
But it was
this one was.
their other one was more quaint,
Yeah.
and it was more like
I did like the look
going
and
into
feel.
a house.
Yeah, I
almost.
like the look and feel of the old Four Roses one.
Yeah, a lot of wood.
A lot of lot
Dark
of wood, and
wood.
oak, a lot of rich mahogany.
Yeah.
Rich Mahal.
Oh shit. So yeah, that was nice. And then we decided we had a little. I decided we had a little more time than we actually did. So we sat down at the bar at Four Roses, had a drink. I think one of you got an old fashioned, right?
No, I was going to.
Oh, you changed your
But
mind.
We all
someone
got
did.
single pours.
I thought so too. Yeah.
Someone had an old.
Oh, you had.
fashioned,
Okay,
yeah.
I thought someone had one, and then the rest of us had single pours, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was nice. We got to kind of up to that point. It had been kind of a whirlwind. You know, we
Yeah, it
didn't
was
really
a
have
lot.
a chance to.
It was a lot.
And that's how it is every year. The first day is always the craziest. We try to get so much in on that first day. Then we decided to go to Maker's Mark, and my intention for Maker's Mark was to go there and get the wood finishing series. It's almost always on the shelf there. When you go to the-
DRT 1 and 2.
yeah, and they almost always have those there on the visitor center when you get there, and it's usually that one and then the previous year. And so we drive out there, and they did not have them.
They didn't have
I
anything.
was. Yeah, they didn't have
I
anything.
mean, they
and I
had
was,
some of their picks, but
Right.
for
Yeah.
makers really going all out on their campus as far as Christmas time. They had one ornament. Like that's it.
That's true. That's also the same ornament.
they had one
has
of those balsa wood ornaments that were
What do you mean? You're
just
talking about the decoration on the ground or in the shop?
in the shop to buy.
No, I'm saying for
In the
as
shop.
much as they decorate their grounds.
Oh, okay.
What they had for sale
Oh,
in their
okay.
shop
They-
was only
they
like
had two.
like
They
their
had that
retail.
glass ball that
Yeah.
we got.
He said he was walking around outside. He saw one
They
ornament.
just didn't
I'm
have
like,
a-
dude, the whole damn place was decorated.
Yeah, I just feel like they didn't have a lot of Christmas stuff.
No, they
It's unreal.
they less than I remember anyway.
Yeah.
Not only did they not have the bourbon we were looking for, but their Christmas ornament selection just wasn't good.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
to be fair,
That's a nail in the coffin, if you ask me.
That's the whole Christmas.
To be fair, Tyler, one of the things he was looking for this year was some ornaments at all
Yeah.
the gift shops. So he and I both actually were trying to pick up some ornaments.
We
this
made.
trip.
I mean, like we kind of made the mistake last year of every place we stopped, we'd see them and we're like, oh, that'd be so cool. And then we go to the next distillery and we're like, oh, that'd be so cool to get some of those. And like we just didn't start picking them up. And so one of the things that I wanted to grab from every distillery this year was an ornament.
Yeah, and I decided to do the same thing for my bourbon
Yeah.
room tree.
I might have to with how my kid's attacking my tree.
Is he going to make the tree faint?
There's no ornaments.
So this is the second
currently
time
on the
USC is
bottom
going for a
third
fourth down.
of the tree.
Oh, he's wide open. Why didn't one of them cover the?
And
Is
that's
this
how
gonna-
you win games.
Is this going to work?
Yeah, it's
Are we
gonna
going to be
work.
able to do this?
Yeah, it's going to work.
Kids ruin everything.
I just don't understand why you've got one guy running into the end zone, the receiver. You've got two guys running after the quarterback. One
usually
didn't go
you
with the
score
receiver.
in the end zone, so that's why he was running.
Right, but I'm talking about the defender did not cover the receiver. Two of them went after the quarterback instead of one of them going to the defender.
Oh yeah, nobody
bad play calling.
picked
No
up
one
the,
played the
nobody picked up
receiver.
the back coming
Yeah.
out of the backfield.
Stupid.
Sports ball.
They both went after the quarterback. I'm like, yeah, he's already covered.
Yeah,
Go-
well,
one of
he's
you-
probably going to be the Heisman Trophy winner, so I can understand why he went after
He
them.
might be after this game, especially.
Yeah.
So anyway, after Maker's Mark.
After we were disappointed at Makers.
Yeah, we had to rush out anyway. 'cause
However,
we had
though,
to-
a couple of the guys, I want to know the
Hold
guys
on,
that
I
never-
wasn't disappointed.
Martel
Yeah, the guys
got
that had
to
never
do-
been there.
right.
What did you think of it?
you
I
were
dipped my
disappointed
tip
not
right
with
into the
Makers,
wax.
though.
Right into the wax you dipped it?
Yeah, just the tip.
How was it? How'd that
It was
feel?
so hot. It was
So
like 300 degrees.
One of the cool things about Maker's Mark is they let you buy anything that they sell in the gift shop. They have it available in two ways. One, already pre-dipped, and another one where it hasn't been dipped yet, and you get to dip it.
You can dip it.
You
Yeah.
used to be able to dip anything. Now it's only the
You used to be able to dip
bottles.
anything, but now it's only the bottles they sell in the
Like
shop.
someone had like a
That was Rudra. He had a hat dipped, and
Yeah.
he had a poster dipped.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
A
Like-
hat tipped.
You used to be able
Like a
to,
rolled up poster?
yeah. You used to be able to dip. Yeah. But so, what did you think of the place, Martel? Your first time there?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. The campus is really nice. Like it is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
The campus itself. The whole dipping process is. I mean, it's enjoyable.
neat.
But it's like a.
But it's no extra cost.
It's no
so
extra
cool.
cost, so
Right.
it's like if you want to dip your own bottles,
Yeah.
great.
That's
It's
cool.
cool.
Yeah. Why not? Why
I
wouldn't
would
you?
do it again. I mean, it doesn't cost anything. You just walk
Yeah,
in.
right.
But
No,
next
agreed.
time I do it, I'm plunging that fucking bottle.
Do it.
Just dunking it. But he warned me. He's like, if you do that and it covers up the government seal, we're going to replace your bottle. I'm like, damn it.
It happens.
Damn you.
That
Where's
was
the
your
government
first time
seal?
as well,
What's
Ron,
that?
right?
Where's the
Yeah,
government
yeah,
seal?
yeah.
Right
that's
on
my
the back
first
of the
time, too.
bottle.
Yeah.
It's like right
So that's how you
under the
just
neck.
you tip it and so that it rolls down the side. That's
Yeah,
not
you,
the
you,
government.
you, you dunk it in. He tells you, you probably go down like 2 or 3 inches. Dunk it in, pull it out, give it a twist, turn it, flop it, and then stick it on the table.
Sounds
like
like,
a-
he doesn't want you
Tyler's
showing
wife
off.
says the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Just dunk
it's-
it 2 to 3.
It's like-
Yeah,
that's why I
because
said it's
she,
just
she
the
can't
tip.
she can't handle more than that.
Yeah.
That's why she married Tyler.
Yeah.
Ron, what did you think? What did you think?
How am I supposed to follow up with that?
I don't know. Just tell us what you think of these.
I actually I really liked it. So I always like Buffalo Trace, but I feel like the other distilleries I went to are just too like new and compact and things like that. So I felt like it was spread out, kind of like a campus. It had this building here, that building there, but you can see the history in it, which is really cool. I think walking through it, like you guys running me through, like this is that. Like it was cool. I'd like to spend some.
It would have been
come
nice
back
to have
and
had
spend
more
some
time there.
Yeah.
And if I was going to ever repeat a tour, it would probably be that one.
Yeah, going through that
could
Rick
get,
house.
You could get lost in
It's cool.
in Makers.
Is it?
Just sitting in there.
Is it hard to get a pick through them?
Not too tough.
Okay.
Cows did one. I mean,
Yeah.
They've done a couple.
Central Ohio Whiskey Society, whatever. I mean, they did one.
I would like to
tough.
head over there like in the evening. Like
Yeah, when the
at
lights-
this
see the
time of
lights.
year and see
Yeah.
the lights and everything that they had all
a lot of people
all
do
done.
go there just for the Christmas time, which is really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Do they have like night tours?
Yeah.
Or anything like that? Do they?
Oh, I don't know about night tours, but it's definitely open at night just to experience the lights.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I know Buffalo Trace used to have ghost tours in the
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
certain
That's
times
true.
and stuff like that.
I'd enjoy that.
I don't know when or if they still do that or not, but
But yeah, you just kind of.
I'd scare the shit out of somebody with a bottle of Blanton's and some Coke.
Cane or cola?
don't make me mix these.
Yeah.
I'll mix them.
I was always the first time I went to first time I went to Makers, I was always like taken by the look and feel of it. It always feels to me like when you go to Universal Studios in Florida, and then like the Harry Potter like land is like in Disney, and you kind of feel like you're in another world, but
Yeah.
you're still in the same place.
Yeah.
That's what Makers feels like to me compared to the other
The rest of the
distilleries.
Bourbon Trail. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in the Bourbon Trail,
It's-
but you're also in this other
It's
world.
more manicured and more. It's more set up. Like
Yeah.
it's not like
it's
just
almost
walk
like
over
it's
here. and-
designed from the beginning for visitation.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like Buffalo Trace has been retrofitted for visitation. You could tell it was just a production facility, and now it's like retrofitted for visitation.
I mean,
All
even
of
the
other
restaurant at
places-
Maker's Mark, they grow all their own stuff there. Everything
Yeah.
is.
Oh, that's cool when it's like farm to table.
It's literally
Yeah.
farm to table, and the farm is right when you walk. I don't know if you guys even. I know we were kind of hustling in.
Yeah.
But as you kind of walk into the first part of the distillery, there's a huge greenhouse and garden to the left where they're growing all the ingredients to make all the food.
That's where the goats were.
I think I had vertigo at that point
That's the
still
goats.
from dudes driving, so
Yeah.
I had no
Yeah,
balance.
Martell really wanted to
I
take
wanted
it
to.
home.
The goats were there. They're free.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I mean, that's implied that they're free. I didn't see a sign that said free goats.
I didn't see a sign that say "Don't take the goats."
The best part about this, you guys have been saying goats the entire time, and they were sheep.
No, those were
those were
goats.
goats.
They were goats. 100% those were goats.
Yeah, those are
now I want
absolutely
to go
goats.
back and check
I'll
it
put
out.
I'm on.
I'll put my bottle of Blanton's on it.
I'm on. Ron's
It was
side of this.
100%.
That's not worth it.
goats.
That's no
They were
bet.
goats.
No bet.
There
I
may
say we
there
Uber
may
right
have
now.
been there
We
may have
find-
been
There may have been sheep out there.
Single sheep here or there.
Who else
there
was
were
in
goats.
Was anyone
There
in
was-
4-H? I was in 4-H.
They were definitely
I had
goats.
farm animals.
Have I seen
There was
goats
a-
online? Yes.
Goatsonline.com. Is that a website?
That's his OnlyFans
Big
name.
natural goats.
BigNaturalGoats.com.
Big natural goats. OnlyFans. So,
Just utter pics.
so after
Yes.
Makers,
Utter pigs.
the reason we didn't have a lot of time at Makers, we had to actually go from there to Heaven Hill for the You Do Bourbon experience. And I'd say I was a little disappointed at Makers didn't had their wood finishing series, but I feel like I was very disappointed in the You Do Bourbon experience altogether.
Oh, that was
Yeah, COVID carry did.
So for
COVID carry, yeah.
Grace graced us with her COVID cough. And,
Yeah.
Tell me this isn't pass interference. He hits him early. Anyway, so COVID Carrie, she's our lady that she would not stop coughing during our tour.
The hiccup was the clincher, though.
Hold on. So I say tour.
the hiccup was the best.
It wasn't really a tour. They just sit
tasting.
there, give you like a 5-minute description of the history of Heaven Hill, kind of.
Yeah, no eye contact.
No
she just walked back and
She
forth.
just-
Didn't even look at anyone.
Looked up.
But she looked into her elbow when she coughed every
She
time.
did.
So that was good. She at least coughed in the corner,
That
as
was
they
a
say.
redeeming quality.
And but there was probably 30 coughs in that one presentation.
Yep. Cough. She even left the room
Yeah,
once.
I think,
Cough.
like you said, it was a stay-home situation.
It was a stay
Yeah,
home.
it was
day.
definitely.
It was
she
definitely a
sounded a
stay-home
little
day.
nasally,
Yeah.
and she never was like, "Excuse me." Like it was just like she just kept.
It was almost like
Okay.
holy
Let's-
fuck. I have
It's all
no
right.
eardrums.
You'll fix it.
Will I?
You'll fix it.
Will I? We're gonna have a couple hours worth of here. I don't know that I'll fix anything. So
She never took a sip of water.
no,
No, she did.
She had that
She did.
She
body
did.
armor. She had a body
some
armor.
kind of energy.
But it
drink.
was like I watched her. It was like after like 10
body
coughs,
armor.
she walked over there.
Yeah. Well,
She
right.
had the body armor.
So,
It's like 3% coconut water.
Yeah.
So we went to the Heaven Hill You Do Bourbon, and we did this last year, and last year was outstanding.
It was good.
They had
Yeah.
4 to choose from. It's $45. You go in and you taste 4 different bourbons. This was last year.
technically
This
it
was last year.
Okay.
So last year they had the Bernheim cask strength, they had the Larceny cask strength, they had the Elijah
Craig
Craig barrel proof, and then they had the Heaven Hill Experience. All were cask strength. And then you taste through them, and if you want to buy one, you get to go into the next room and bottle your own, which is kind of cool. You label it and do all that stuff. This year, and in fact, we went in, February, Jason?
Yep.
And by then, they already had no more of the
There had
Heaven Hill
no-
experience.
No more Heaven Hill.
So that was gone, and it was still gone this year. So you're paying $45 now for a tasting of 3 bourbons,
A
basically.
fucking Bernheim.
Well, so
and
one
every
wheat
single
whiskey
time
and
they
2
try
bourbons.
to church that up, like you'll never find this elsewhere.
Well, they did that with all 3 of them. They were like,
Church
oh,
it up.
It's like
Church it up.
Church it
I
up,
don't know
meaning
that I've heard that.
you won't find God unless you're here.
Don't church it up, Joe Dirt.
Meaning like, meaning this is the holy grail of wheated.
No,
of
seriously.
wheat whiskey.
Right.
Well, she kept saying, well, this starts with Y, and this is Y, the Y code, and it's for the You Do Bourbon.
Right.
This is
Oh,
Y
yeah.
for Bernheim. This is Y for Larceny. This is
Right.
Y.
They
for,
were all Y batches, so that when
So
you
you're never
label
going to
them-
get them unless you do it here.
Yeah, because
Right.
they're all 10 barrel small batches.
Which is that in and of itself is pretty cool, but
with the larceny. The
zooming in on
larceny.
this guy's ass.
pick a better because he's got blood on it.
Who cares?
Pick
Is
a
this
better
period?
Yes.
batch
Yeah.
of 10 barrels.
well, you
on all of
already
them.
you already talk about the fact that they don't pick their best barrels for their barrel picks, so you know that is probably they're even worse.
Yeah, you're already there. You've already paid for the experience. They're going to sell it,
Exactly.
and
Yeah, the larceny barrel proof today from the experience was youthful, it was hot, it was harsh.
It was
Yeah.
hot for sure.
Oh, it was crazy hot.
I
mean,
have
some-
not had a larceny barrel proof that I was like blown away by.
we did. Well, not blown away, but we did last time we were there. That was the one.
That one's the one that I got.
That's what I
And
got too.
what
That
was
one
it,
was
50
actually really good.
Yeah.
50? No, it was $70.
Are you guys getting any cherry out of this now?
No.
Cherry.
No, I've never had a bottle of Larceny that I like, barrel proof or run of the mill stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've got 2 bottles at home. I've got a regular bottle and a barrel proof bottle, and
Yeah.
neither one of them are good.
Not fresh.
Like
I
I'm
agree.
gonna mix
Yeah,
them with something
like
else
dry
or
cherry, yeah,
do
that's it.
something
Yeah.
with them, but I can't stomach
That
them.
might be the dark fruit someone was talking about earlier, maybe.
And speaking of cherry, the Elijah Craig barrel proof, I was like, this
Yeah.
is like medicinal cherry all day
Yeah.
long.
I didn't mind that though. That's why I
Yeah.
got it. I actually
Yeah,
didn't
that
mind
one I liked.
That one was pretty good.
That was
And I almost
definitely
got-
the best of the bunch.
Yeah,
but
so
it
not,
wasn't.
not all of us got bottles.
No.
I almost
So-
got the Elijah Craig just for the pure fact that you don't run across Elijah Craig barrel proofs every day.
very often,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah,
I also think it's horse shit. You can't get more than one bottle.
you tried. You
tried.
definitely tried.
Well, you
so
got to,
so
though,
they
right?
ask, okay, who wants a bottle? And it gets around to Ron. I'll take both an Elijah Craig and a Larceny. And she's like, no, you won't.
It didn't even get around to me. I was the first one to put my hand up.
You get one bottle, and I was like, well, he's not getting one. He'll take his. And she's like, okay. Okay.
She was like,
You're
okay.
getting the money anyway.
But
She
40,
did.
but fucking $45 for that.
That's
for that
what's
tasting.
crazy.
For
yeah.
that tasting.
That's such an.
And
easy
here's the
way for them
thing.
to
You
make
pay
money.
$45 to then spend another.
Here's
100.
my thoughts on it.
Exactly.
The fact
Yes.
that they're charging you $45 to then, like you said, pay another 100. Let you buy as many of the, not as many, but one of each.
At
Yeah.
least one of each.
If you want it. If you like all
That's a
four,
great
let
call.
let
Yeah,
someone buy
agreed.
all three or four or
Yeah.
whatever they have. In this case today, 3. But why not?
But if they
Like it's your entry fee. You
Was
know,
it-
like let people enjoy it. Make
it
the
was
experience worth it.
Maybe you and I that were talking about how they used to have their old tastings, and that's how you would get those higher end bottles from there.
Yeah.
You had to
well, they
do the
still do that.
tasting.
It was as Jeff would call it, the Carnosaur taste.
Yeah,
Or was
the
that you?
Carnos- No,
That was Jeff, right? That called it the Carnosaur tasting.
yeah, connoisseur.
It's connoisseur, but he said Carnosaur.
Yeah. But anyway, like that's how you used to get their high end bottles is because they in their tastings they would have like an old Fitz or they'd have an EC18
Yeah, and they give you like a ticket or whatever.
yeah, and you could go and buy that.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Because they had that William Henry Hill. Or
and that was like
whatever.
that was the only way that you could buy those.
Yeah.
You know, outside of like lotteries or allocation for your states or anything like that.
Well, they would have allocations behind but they would always save however many of the people were doing that tasting. They would
Yes.
save that many bottles behind.
But that was a
so
great
they'd say they were
tasting.
sold out.
But so
it
why
was. They still do that tasting.
What I don't get is why they don't do that for this current tasting. If it's
Oh,
$45,
right,
there
because
should
the-
be something else in there
The
besides
connoisseur tasting, I think, was around $40 each.
It was. It was like
but you
44.
then knew that you also got
Exactly.
a ticket to possibly buy a nice bottle afterwards.
You know, and if that's the way they want to do it, fine. But go ahead and drop the price. So if you want to do like a tasting in 1 bottle, or a tasting in 2 bottles, or a tasting in 3 bottles, then jiggle the price around a little bit. Like
Right.
make the
For what
tasting
we
for
had
1
today-
bottle like
for what we had
$35.
today, it should have been $25-$30.
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that was not
maybe.
worth $45.
$10 a
Like,
$10 a tasting.
If you had William
because then
Heaven
you're
Hill in
turning
there,
around and buying a bottle anyway. Like
if you
they're
could
getting your money.
guarantee that
Or
William Heaven Hill was in there every single time, that maybe changes it because you're getting
Sure.
4 barrel proofs.
And they're making you have a gateway to get to that bottle.
Yeah.
Sure, I get that.
or
But they're not. So for
waive
what we
half the
did today,
price.
$20-$30 maybe.
if you want to charge $45 for that, charge $45 for it. But if you end up getting a bottle, waive half that price
Or have
towards
that
the
go
towards
toward the-
the bottle.
Yeah.
So
That
like
went
half
towards
of that
the
goes
bottle.
toward the
Yeah.
bottle.
Yeah.
I think
That would be
Yeah,
cool.
I
That would be
agree.
okay.
I agree.
Or if there's only 3 there, take a fourth off of that cost.
Yeah, you're
Right.
basically paying them for you to do all the fucking work and
Right.
put the bottle together and put the sticker on it and fill it and clean it and
Right.
cork it.
So
That's part of the
so that
market.
was a little bit of a letdown.
That's the
I feel like
experience.
today, right?
That's- I know it's part of the experience, but
Yeah.
I mean, why do I got to pay full price if I'm making this whole bottle myself?
Right.
But you got to think they're aiming that toward people who don't know what they're doing. So it's just for the experience of, oh, sweet, I got to bottle my own thing. I don't even know.
Oh,
anything
for
about
sure.
The
For
product.
sure.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
and you always have to be cognizant of that.
Michter's is kind of this, but they don't make you sit through something else to get to that point.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
And we'll find-
and it's like they're yeah.
Did you know 51% corn at least?
So we left there. Well, first we went up into the Five Brothers
Oh
bar
my
and
god!
kitchen.
First
and
of all,
looked at some pours.
the Five
and
Brothers prices
Holy
today.
Absurd.
Did they go up like 50%?
I swear they did.
At least.
they weren't like that last year.
They wanted $65 for a pour of Elijah Craig 18.
yeah.
Like
That's
you gotta
fucking
be, you gotta be
nuts.
kidding me.
They had
That's
a
the
$200
third
pour on that
of what
on
you
that
find
list.
for the bottle itself. So like at 3 pours, they've sold the bottle,
Yeah.
and that's 1 ounce pours, right? They were 1 ounce pours.
I
Weren't they?
have no
Yes.
idea.
I think it
Pretty
was
sure it
one,
said 1
I thought it
ounce.
was 1.5.
it's got
ounce.
to be 1.5 or 2.
It said
No,
1.5.
it doesn't have to be.
I'm
Not in
saying
Kentucky.
for Usually
I'm telling you right now that
They'll
most of
do-
the places
there's
you
a lot
go,
of
they'll
1
do
ounce
1
those,
ounce pours.
yeah.
65 for a 1 ounce pour.
Those
Oh,
were
fuck yeah,
1.5.
It was 1.5.
Yeah, I read it.
I think it was
They might have been today. I'm just telling you, I have seen
50
plenty of
milliliter
places that
bottle.
will say 1 ounce pour.
Yeah,
and
I've been to
they'll still
places that
charge
do that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's 7 times bottle cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
But
don't
people
care.
will
That's where they
pay
make
it.
their money.
That's the thing. People are going
That's
to pay
the
it
issue.
it's
Because
just
just for the ability to
the
say,
way it
"Hey,
is
I
right
tasted
now.
this," because they didn't have to wait in line anywhere. They got to taste it.
That's insane.
It is insane, but that's where it's at right now. It's
Tyler, when you're
ridiculous.
done with that.
Yeah,
And insane is the 100% correct word to use for it. You're right.
it was super good. I mean, even to try some of the higher end pours. I mean, you're looking at $130 to $160, $70 a pour for
I know.
some of the old Fitz decanters. I mean,
People are
it's
going out of their
nuts.
way to visit your campus. Make it stuff a little more accessible.
There was a guy there that had
I'd
all
rather-
three
I'd rather
old
it be
Fitz
sold
sitting
out.
on the
Did
table.
he?
Oh yeah, I got a picture of it.
Oh, I
No,
didn't
so
see that.
they had a flight there of that.
Yeah.
It was a
And
full.
it was
ra-
like it's like $160 for the flight.
But I'd rather stuff be sold out than when I get there than to have them tell you that something's $80 for a pour. That's just crazy.
It also increases the likelihood of you actually being able to sell a proper bottle if you give it to someone and make it accessible. They
I
will-
bet you
Yeah, it
people
just
are paying
increases
it, though.
it doesn't help the secondary prices.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, which came first, the prices at the bar or the secondary prices?
Secondary prices.
That's
in my
the
opinion.
thing. So
Well,
I mean,
listen, the distillers are always going to be a little bit more expensive on the bottle side and also the bar side because they don't want to undercut the actual businesses.
right,
within-
right.
in
They
and
go a little.
around.
They go a little over MSRP.
Yeah, but I just felt like that
Like
Five
Lux Row
Brothers
does the
bar
same
was a
thing.
little
and-
bit higher
No,
than
no,
most of the other
a
ones.
little is an understatement.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
You're right. So that was probably my largest disappointment of the day. We went from there, did Bardstown Burger, which seems to be our trip
Yeah.
annual tradition now.
I do want to say real quick about Heaven Hill. It was beautiful inside. They had it Christmas decorated.
Yeah, the-
It
beautiful
is.
tree.
The visitor center is amazing.
The bar upstairs.
It's a great
was
visitor
beautiful.
center.
It's a
Leather
beautiful
chairs,
business
leather
center.
couches,
A
and
beautiful
chairs.
And,
business center.
and speaking
It was
of like
beautiful.
a place with nice knickknacks and things like that, they have a lot of stuff
yeah,
there
they
to
do.
choose
They
from.
have a lot of knickknacks, patty wax.
Yeah, and patty wax, right.
Yeah, a lot of mellow yellow.
They did. They had a
Mellow.
lot of like cooking stuff, like
That's
sauces
cool.
and stuff,
Yeah.
syrups.
I'm all
things like
about those
that.
bright green mellow corn shirts.
But I mean, that was kind of a neat part of it. So I'll say that was a little bit of a bump up from the disappointment of everything else. From there, we went to the Bardstown Burger place. We got that. That we go there every year. And then from there, we went to Preservation Distillery, right?
Oh, yes.
So that was the same price, $45 a person.
That was way better for the money.
Way better.
And a much better experience. For
Absolutely.
one, we got
We got a
five.
tour.
We got 5 drinks. One when we started,
Oh yeah, that's right. I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
and then we finished with 4.
Well,
So-
we had the
white
the
dog.
white
Oh, yeah,
dog.
the white
Now,
dog,
granted, they were all pretty small samples, but
still,
again,
the
But you're looking
retail
at-
price on those.
plus we had the
bottles,
white
though?
dog, plus we had the tour,
Yep.
and
Plus we had fucking Jim.
Jim.
Yeah, we had Jim.
Jim was good.
Big Jim.
Big Jim.
And you got to
Good,
remember,
man.
I
He
mean,
was
those,
awesome.
those are small pours. We're
He was
looking
awesome.
at 14, 15-year-old,
Right.
high-age stated whiskey.
That they're
which was
that they're
nice.
selling for $200 a bottle. So
Yeah,
like
the
they're not
14
going
was
to give you
$200.
a full 1 ounce pour. They were probably like 3/4 ounce pours, I'd bet.
I honestly think that tasting was worth it though. If you
No,
look at the
it
price point
that
of those
one,
bottles,
for one, you got a tour, you got the 5 tastings, plus you got the white dog,
And you got Jim.
and you got Jim. Jim was good.
Jim was
was
the
good.
man.
He really was.
And
he did.
But the best, I think the most informational thing that he gave us today was that to be a bourbon, it has to be 51% corn.
Yes.
he did the
something today.
he did the Freddy thing where we put the white dog in your hand and
And you know-
smack it. And
Yeah.
So for you guys that don't know, so Preservation Distillery is the ones that are putting out the Old Saint Nick labels. You see the Old Saint Nick bourbons,
Yeah, grumpy old Gandalf.
the rare perfection rye whiskeys, or Canadian whiskeys, I should say. Yeah, they're pretty high priced, but they are filling their own stuff. It looks like they're doing about 7 to 8 barrels a day.
And they're at 5 years right now.
Yeah, they're at 5 years right now. They want to wait.
They said about 6 to 10 more months
Yeah.
for their rye release.
Yeah, for the rye release.
That's gonna be a nice rye.
Which means their ryes are going to be about 6 years old, which is pretty damn
Yeah.
good.
And what also I did like is that they're going in a little bit of a lower entry proof into the barrel. They're going in at
115, yeah.
And then on top of that, they're also using a sweet mash process and rather than the sour mash.
mash,
Now,
right. So they're starting
Peerless,
fresh every
Peerless
time.
uses sweet mash, and so does Wilderness Trail. So when you think about those two distilleries and what they're doing and why their whiskeys, I think, are a little bit far ahead of the curve, is because of those processes and what they do. It's more expensive to do it that way.
Yeah.
But if you do it right, you will get a better tasting spirit coming out of that barrel.
How do you like the fact that they did a pot still without the
Without using any column?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good. The one thing about pot still is some people...
Texture.
The texture is the best part of
Yeah.
pot still. It gives you a great texture, but some people also get more of a graininess coming off of just a pot still rather than a cleaner spirit through a column.
Yeah.
So I think it's just really going to depend on what it does in the barrel. And I mean, we tasted that White Dog. Their White Dog tasted
Sweet.
very clean. It was very
Yeah.
sweet. Wasn't getting any off flavors.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to have an issue.
Yeah, I think to me,
I usually get some white dogs I have, like, they can be funky.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And I think white dogs, if you're not used to them, if you haven't had very many of them, they can be immediately harsh because it's just pure like ethanol.
Yeah. They need to bottle that White Dog, though, and sell that.
They really
So what I find interesting, and for me, the first few times that I ever had pot still bourbons, I didn't like them. I think that I didn't like the texture. I didn't like that mouthfeel. But the more and more I've had them now, like that MB Rollin' that we had that tasted
Yeah.
like freaking oatmeal.
Yeah.
That's
Like
fucking
it's
good.
grown on me. I've
Yeah.
started to really kind of like some pot still bourbons and the texture that comes out of it. That mouthfeel is really good.
Yeah.
But
I
that
agree.
graininess comes through, and if you're okay with that graininess, it's a really pleasant kind of flavor or addition to the texture of the flavor or whatever you want to call it. I like it.
Yeah. I mean,
I like
Yeah.
it. The Willet that was my first experience with pot still.
Yeah.
And I fucking hated it. Like, just hated it.
Well, and to be fair,
but again, Willet is a little bit more of a
It is.
acquired taste.
It is.
yeah.
But my second was Nika, the Japanese whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pot still. And that was fantastic. Like, that is, I'm always picking up a bottle of that stuff whenever I can get the Kofi grain.
Yeah, with that you're looking at malt.
It is.
Yeah,
Right. But-
and generally malt works really well in a pot still. So that's what you're normally
Did,
seeing.
they
in
had a
Scotland.
higher malted barley content, didn't they?
Who did?
Preservation. I thought it was a little bit. I thought it was like 13%. Did they say for that mash bill that they had running through it?
Well, it was the one that they were running through was a little bit higher with barley, but that's not unheard of these days.
Yeah.
I think the barley, obviously you use those enzymes that convert starch to sugars. That always helps to process. And then on top of that, I think barley gives a little bit more of a softer feel of the, barley can really soften the alcohol, soften the blow a little bit, when you're first sipping a whiskey. I mean, Greg Metz over at Old Elk, I
Right.
think he's
They use a
he's
higher barley
yeah.
what is he? I think he's over 25% on his barley content. He's got a high barley content in his
Yep.
Old Elk.
It may be 25%.
Might be
It's
25,
high. It's at least 15. I know
Yeah.
that.
I
It's,
get a lot of chocolatey notes with malted barley, like when there's an excessive
You
amount.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
you can.
Yeah.
You can.
I do. Like I, for me personally, I
Like
should
if you
say.
Where's
look at
that,
if you look at like
bottle?
Chattanooga, if you look at like Chattanooga,
Their stuff's good.
Tennessee high malt, very
Hey, Rob.
chocolatey, a little coffee richness there too.
Thank you, Josh. Didn't have
But
to do that.
when it comes to malt, it really is dependent on the malt itself,
Like the
of
type.
what those flavors you're going to get.
Right.
Like Sagamore, I know I've been there. They use a honey malt, and I think that's where you get some of those like really nice sweet flavors too.
I guess
So-
I didn't realize there were different. I mean, it makes sense they're different types of malt, but it's not.
I mean,
something
all you got to
that-
do is look at the side of a Chattanooga bottle, and you see they usually have a list of about 6 or 7 different
another
malts
big
that
four you
they're
got there.
blending
Yeah.
to make it.
Not as big as the first one.
Glenmorangie, the Scotch makes the Signet. They use
Someone cash this
chocolate.
fucking
The
bottle.
Signet
It's almost
chocolate
there.
Yeah, who needs a top
Yeah, it's
off? We're
close.
almost empty.
I just got
do.
one.
You said
It's
you're
your
gonna take
it's
top
your
off?
bottle. Do you want to do the
He's gonna
honors?
take his top off.
He just topped off.
No, I just topped off.
I
You
just
guys are good.
topped
Somebody
off.
else
Send it
kill
down
that.
there.
Jason wants his top
Jason
off.
Jason.
Yeah,
There
we're
you
close
go.
to, close
So
to
we
killing
are
here.
about to be done with bottle number 1. Done
close.
with 1.
Done with one.
I'm still waiting for Drew to take his top off.
Oh, it's coming. Don't worry.
Thanks, Josh.
It's coming.
All right, here we go.
I like it. My wife is watching these
There she
Instagram
goes.
reels.
Well,
Yeah.
more.
She just sent me a text message and
Who's
said,
that handsome guy with the salty beard?
No, she
Oh.
actually texted me and said, how much?
Oh,
much?
oh, for the guy with the salty beard.
No, not quite.
He's taken.
I know what she's referencing.
How much did you spend? Yeah, I got it. But the better question is, how much did you make? Just kidding.
How much did you make?
He's thinking.
He's thinking about
Yeah, I'm
it.
trying to think. I don't think there's anything I would give up out of this trip.
Yeah, that's fair. I like it.
I'm excited for that.
Oh, that's a shame.
We didn't really, as a group, buy that much.
No,
There's still another day.
This was the least, but on
Yeah.
day one, that's generally because we do the biggest amount of distilleries that day.
Yeah.
We generally fucking are like day 2, like, okay, we got to reel it back, guys.
Yeah, we're done spending.
Yeah, and today we actually held back, I think, a little bit more than we normally
I
do.
mean, we're in Louisville now, so we got a lot more within walking distance and
Yeah.
accessible
Yeah.
to us. So
We
So-
are in Louisville. I keep thinking we're in Bardstown because that's
Yeah.
where we normally stay the first night.
Yeah.
So what's interesting, but let's recap the day, though. I mean, on day 1, we got Blanton's.
Yeah.
I know that was Jason's favorite part of the day. Then we went and got Russell's the Kentucky Spirit.
Shame.
We got a Four Roses single barrel strength, which those are hard to come by already. And then we had that amazing experience at Heaven Hill. But I did get a Larceny barrel proof there, batch C22.
That was very subtle. I liked it.
C22, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that was at least good. But
That's it.
It was a pretty good haul.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. If you have to get rid of either the Four Roses or the Russell's Reserve, which one do you get rid of between the two?
Russell's Reserve.
Oh, I can't even be friends with you anymore.
Only because I feel like I get plenty of Russell Reserve picks.
Yeah.
I don't get the Four Roses.
I'm with him as much as I love. You know,
I
Wild Turkey is
do
my
like
favorite
them.
distillery. I love Wild Turkey,
But
I
they're
love
more
their flavor
plentiful.
profile. But you could find them a lot
Yeah,
easier.
I agree.
Four Roses barrel picks do not come along. I think that's why they're so
agree.
coveted too.
Yeah,
Right?
when you ask me like I'm getting one from you, like
Yeah.
that's if the fucking store owner remembers. To
Well,
put it aside.
and
But
that's a valid
he
point.
Should. He did for me.
Like you
But
guys
you're
know,
just-
even in Ohio, when
Yeah, you're fucking
when
never.
when
Yeah.
OHLQ releases a Four Roses pick,
They're gone.
It's,
Yeah, they're
people
There's a
go
line
ape-
a mile
people
long
go
to get
ape
to it.
shit.
Yeah.
They're
You
all over
just
that.
don't come across it.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm glad I bought mine.
Yeah.
In the moment, I was just like, because I just bought 3 bottles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to be
That's
fair,
a hard choice, though. That's
to be
tough,
fair,
like.
It
I mean,
is.
Four Roses, of course, but like
I've
some
never,
good Russells out there
I've
too.
never
Yeah.
had. I've never
What if
had
it
a.
was,
Good.
I don't want to jinx it, but I've never had a Four Roses single barrel strength that I haven't liked. I have had a Russell's that I've been disappointed in.
That's the same. The
Yeah,
OHLQ
same here.
The
Russell
OHLQ one for
was
sure.
really not good.
Although I love whatever that Bourbon Enthusiast pick.
Oh, that's a K warehouse too.
Which is
was
what,
it?
which
Yeah,
is
it's
what
a
we
K
picked up
warehouse.
today.
Dude, if it's anything like that, it was better than the Russell's 13 in my opinion.
We were on the fence, you and
Yeah,
I.
you
right?
guys
We were-
chose the Russell 13, and I.
It had just a
but they
little
were, but they were both really good.
fantastic.
For the once I went non-tater and
Yeah,
and
for,
said,
for the
hey,
ones, for the ones,
That's
for the ones
no.
I went.
for the ones.
That's
For
my
the
favorite
ones.
Russell's pick I've ever had too.
Yeah.
From Bourbon
That was a
Enthusiast.
hold. Holy shit,
Yep.
that was a hold.
I wasn't a big fan of the 13 either.
They're calling.
So-
they're calling a hold on the
It's
offensive line.
good.
Yep.
It's got to
It's
be.
Well,
good.
yeah.
Good.
Is
But for the price
that
it
guy
is
got
right
pulled
now,
down
it
to the
scares
ground.
me.
Even when
Oh, yeah,
so
there it
I
is.
first had it with Jason and I had it and I was like, this is good, but the secondary was like at that time like $1,000
Yeah,
for it, and I was like,
for sure.
never would I ever pay that.
Agreed.
for
Well,
that.
you also got and I, myself and a lot of other reviewers played, a small part in hyping it up because
Sure.
when we first got it, we had never really seen a Russell's Reserve like it.
Yeah.
Once it started trickling out that 13 years was on the label, but you had like 18 and 19-year-old
Yeah.
bourbon in that bottle as well. That was it. Like it went great. Barrel proof,
Yep.
rare
Well,
bottle.
and there's different batches, right? So they're not all exactly the same.
They're not going to be all the same. There's going to be different batches.
How many
every
of the
year.
batches
It's an
have you
annual
tried?
release. I've tried all 3, the first 3.
And did you like one more than the other, or
I
did you
don't
think they were all pretty similar?
I don't know if it's just me, but I just felt like I still liked the original one the best.
Yeah, the very first release.
Yeah, I mean 2 and 3 are still very good bourbons,
and we
but
had
I
we
agree.
had 2, right?
Yeah, 2 is the
Yeah.
one we had.
I agree. I still think and the single Rick House
that was
release
good.
as well.
That was good.
Those are they're really good.
When-
But
what's-
yeah, that's the thing. Russell's picks can be so good if you find the right pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can get close to any of those
Yeah.
without having to hunt down and spend
And
so
if
much
and
money.
if you are if you're part of a so 2 things. If you're part of a club where you like the palate of the person who's doing the picks, then you have a good chance of getting that if they get a Russell's
Exactly.
pick. Because the second point is when you go to Russell's, what's the experience like? They let you kind of.
Oh
they
my
don't just
God.
set out 3
It's
choices
amazing,
for you
no.
and let you choose. You actually go around
You
and you're
run-
you're thieving from the barrels,
you're
right?
thieving through the barrels. You're running
awesome.
through the
You're
rick
going
house.
through the rick house.
That's so
Have you
cool.
done a Russell's pick?
No, but I've heard about
from
it.
him, I got you.
want to
Yeah.
go. That's my holy grail of picks. I want to do that one at some
If I
point.
do another one, I told dude he'll come along.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it like this.
Did you get a hold of Did you try the Four Roses 20 year? Did you get a hold of that at all? When that came out?
that special one that came
Yeah.
out. No, I did not.
Okay.
No one
I did
sent
not
you
try
a
Okay,
that.
sample?
I haven't
anything?
either.
No.
I always wanted to get a hold
I
of
heard
that.
I heard it's very good, but it's very similar to the like the limited edition
Yeah,
batches.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's one recipe, but you have that specific type of mouth, and that's what I think that Four Roses does that's smart. That it's very overlooked all the time. Four Roses has a very minimum amount of core range bottles. You have your regular Four Roses, which a lot of people use for mixer.
Yeah.
You have your small batch, select, and then you have the regular single barrel that sits in the store. That's it.
Yeah.
So there's nothing
It's
to
like makers in a way.
Well,
Yeah, there's nothing to
there's
compare
small
to.
batch select,
Yeah, that's what I say. Small
and
batch
then
select.
they're
Yeah, the
single
four.
barrel.
Then
They're
the
regular
single
single
barrel. Then the
barrels.
regular single
Yeah.
barrel. So that's 4. So
They're
that's
2 high-end bottles are limited
Yeah.
edition. And
limited edition,
they're-
and then the
single
the
barrel
single barrel proof. So
All the rest,
That's
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I think people would line up for the Four Roses because
Makes sense.
You're not gonna.
But-
there's no way to get it otherwise.
But-
there's
you know
nothing
what's
close to
absolutely
it.
wild is you'll never really find those on secondary for more than $200 at most. But you won't find them on secondary that much.
Yeah.
Like they just don't exist.
Oh, you mean just the Four Roses barrel selects?
the Four Roses single barrel proofs? Like
Yeah,
either whether it's a pick or whoever's doing it.
Yeah.
They're getting ridiculous
I think it's because
now, man.
people want
that tier.
People
oh,
want
yeah.
to drink them.
That
Yeah,
tier, like he said,
that's
the tiers.
true.
The tiers is the big thing. Like, you get a tier 1 on there, you're looking at 120 to 140. You get a tier 6 on there, you're 250 to 300.
Oh, really?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's bad.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
bad.
tiers make a big difference.
I guess
It's
in my mind, I'm
huge.
thinking like tier 1 wouldn't evaporate as much, so it would have like a better taste profile.
Well, what evaporates is the alcohol.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like you talk about like higher end bourbons, like like your Blantons, your H Taylors, whatever. They're in the lower parts of the rick house.
Yeah, but they're aged for such a long period
Such a
of
long
time.
time.
They have to kind of be
But
in that area.
isn't this 10 years old? The
10
Four
years old.
Roses.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a pretty long time.
It's a good amount. Hey, listen, it might be a banger.
Eagle Rare is a middle of the rick house, which would be about the 6th
Yeah.
floor of
no, I'm only
Four
asking.
Roses
I
in
guess
that's
I
10
feel
years.
like from what I'm learning, that's kind of mildly
That
conflicting.
Stadium Market pick, I wonder what tier that is.
Don't finish your thought, Brent.
No, I'm asking for my own like.
I know.
information,
I'm
you
making
saying?
fun of
Oh.
Tyler for interrupting you.
All I could the only thing I could come back at you with is that when I've gotten to do a couple of Four Roses picks and you go to the experience, they lay out all the barrels for you blind. You don't know what barrel is
That's
what.
that's cool.
They put it on the beautiful 10-dram Lazy Susan of Four Roses goodness, and we started with glass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we easily could see, and Mandy, who's amazing at the barrel pick selections over Four Roses, she's like, well, we definitely see a pattern here. Everything from 1 to 5 are all
Higher
low
tiers.
tier, all low tier selections.
for the better
Everything
ones.
for the and then the 6 to 10, those glasses,
Were
we
the-
were starting into 4 to 6.
Okay.
And those top ones were way more flavorful and more interesting to us.
I wish. So we just
That'd be
did that
so
Four
much fun.
Roses.
Does it
we
say
did the Four
the tier on
Roses.
the bottle?
It does.
Yeah.
But that's what I was going to say. We did that Four Roses blind of the barrel strength, and we didn't look at that. We looked at the recipe, but we didn't look
Yeah.
at the tier, and I wish that we would have. I mean, I could always listen to the episode again and go
Yeah.
back and look at
Yeah,
the
you could always
tiers.
look, yeah.
But I'm very intrigued
I mean,
by that
generally,
now.
you kind of just look by proof. I mean, if you're anywhere over 120, you're looking at a 5 to 6, tier.
Yeah.
Anything kind of below that, you're going to the lower ricks. But yeah, people, as he said, people really chase after the higher tiers.
Yeah, that's it. That's
And I
kind
think
of interesting.
And with Russells, people look for certain rick houses
Yeah.
because there's certain ones that they fall in love with, especially, like a couple years ago, those Camp Nelson Fs coming out of Russells were these beautifully delicious, like funky turkey profiles that people loved.
So speaking of which, next year single rick house is supposed to be Camp Nelson F,
Camp
right?
Nelson Elf.
Elf. Camp Nelson Elf.
Camp Nelson
He's
Elf.
an angry elf.
Come, Nelson F.
That's for
Yeah.
the Christmas
So-
episode.
Is Will
I
going
know
to be in
him.
that?
I know
Yeah,
him.
I think he might be. What? So I know him.
I know him.
Santa's coming.
Where does it typically say the tier?
Bye, buddy.
Right
Hope
side.
you find your dad.
Here. I got you. I got you, Tyler.
good.
I got you.
All right.
Ready?
So
I don't see it on my bottle. That's
I
what
got
I'm
you.
asking.
He's
Right
going
here.
to send you a picture.
let me ask you, everyone here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The bottle of Booker's is empty now, right?
It is empty.
yes.
It's right here.
Who
Look at
still
it.
has bourbon in their glass?
Look at this gorgeousness.
Not I.
All right.
still have a
So
little
you're
bit left.
empty.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Do you need a rinse with some water?
I
No,
still
I got water.
I still got plenty.
All right. And I still have a little bit left too. So we can't move on to bottle 2 until everyone finishes there. So
That's fine.
Brett and Martel are waiting patiently. Brett's already fallen asleep.
So patient.
No, my buddy slaughtered a deer. He's sending me pictures of it. I'm looking at it.
with his car, or like after he killed
No,
it, he
with
got
a-
it ready
a
for
gun.
eating.
Well, now he's gutting it and sending me
With a
pictures.
gun?
Come on.
Like
You can't-
several bullets?
You can't do a gun.
No.
You got to go bow and arrow, baby.
No, I agree.
It was a Colt 45.
Compound bow and arrow.
45.
They have those recurve bows. That's a real fucking hunter, right? It's not a compound bow, but like a recurve bow
yeah,
that's
yeah.
just like a fucking string.
Fuck
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. That's how people should hunt, and I'd have way more fucking respect for them.
That's right.
Versus the dude that
Do
puts
you
a
know
fucking
how tough
salt
that
block
is?
out. While they're eating a salt block, it's like shooting fish in a
I
fucking
think that's why he
barrel.
says
Try-
I
trying
think
to
that's why he
pull
says
back
he'd
like
respect
a-
that more.
Yeah,
People
well,
fall
trying to
back.
pull back a 50-pound recurve and hold it
Yes.
so that you can aim.
Focus, long
Yes.
rest.
Right.
Your fucking arm shaking.
Yeah, I tried it for like
It's crazy.
I found my dad's recurve,
Yeah.
and I decided I was gonna like fuck it. I'm taking up archery. I was maybe 3 weeks into just trying to get like my sight in, just so that I can hit everything. And I went out and bought a crossbow.
Look at you, Katniss Everdeen.
Katniss would never use a fucking crossbow.
This is the Hunger Games of bourbon up in
They
here.
would never use a crossbow. But nice try. I appreciate the attempt.
Hey, I'll do what I
You
can.
just gained Brett's respect.
Good.
I know where he's from. He's Appalachian. I get
Yeah.
respect.
Hey, I'm Appalachian.
Oh,
I was.
Nope.
I have not said that yet today, have I?
I'm from that Appalachia.
Hey, I got an Appalachian scholarship at Ohio
Same.
State.
I got an Appalachian scholarship as well. Not
I didn't even
Ohio
know it was a
State,
thing, and then I found out I took it from a friend of mine who probably needed it more.
What's
than
an
me. I was like,
Appalachian
it was a
scholarship?
scholarship for someone born in or who grew up in Appalachian, Ohio, or Appalachian in general.
Is it by county?
No, it could be. It's just Appalachia.
Appalachia traverses like multiple
Yeah, yeah.
states.
Yeah,
and
so like
areas.
West Virginia,
lot of
Ohio,
it's
Well, like,
Virginia.
how do you like determine
You just
when you're
apply.
out of it?
It's
when you're out
Throw
of
him a
it,
wiener.
You're out of Appalachia.
by
Throw me
not
to
being in
win
that
us,
region
please.
it's
anymore.
like by the it's by
But where's the border?
It's defined.
like county.
I
It's
don't
by
know.
counties.
That's what I mean.
defined.
They
Is
do it by
it's-
counties.
It's probably by county.
Yes, they do it by counties.
Throw me your wiener.
I'm good on the stick.
mouth.
They've got
You gotta
to
get some knowledge.
So what's the test for getting your thing in Appalachia? Have you ever eaten squirrel? Okay, good. You're in.
yeah, groundhog.
Squirrel gravy, actually.
Just where you grew
Squirrel gravy.
where you grew up.
I had a grandma that would
That's
make
it.
squirrel gravy.
Where's
I had
Eddie?
it.
He normally
The
eats
pick.
these things.
One of my dad's best friends was one. He's one of those like live off the
Not
land
anymore,
guys.
Clark.
Oh, yeah.
Once he found out they were high in
Groundhog.
cholesterol.
Yeah.
Moose, anything he could, any squirrel.
Yeah.
I wonder what moose.
He would pick. He would just moose.
What does moose taste like?
Oh, it's
No,
amazing.
I just
Yeah?
sent a picture
Oh, yeah.
to the
I've
group.
had
Is it-
elk, but not
Are you
moose.
in-
Is
moose
it a lean meat? Like,
Yeah, it's a lean meat,
It's
yeah.
probably-
It's similar
It's-
to elk, I'm guessing, or no?
I've
It's a little
tasted-
bit. I haven't had elk
Elk's delicious.
in a while,
I've tasted oat elk. I've never had.
but it's real lean and gamey.
sherry finish.
Yeah, you can tell it's a venison.
Two.
Because I love venison.
No,
Like,
it's still
venison's
good.
delicious.
Yeah.
But
It was
groundhog's
unreal.
real greasy
Absolutely.
and chewy.
Oh, I'm
on,
sure.
Oh, he got.
they're,
yes!
so, they're so fatty. Groundhogs are so.
So Jason's
My
excited
dad's buddy got
because
pissed off and shot two
Utah just
groundhogs in
scored
his
a touchdown.
backyard, skinned
Yeah.
him right then and there, and
I
cooked
take
him.
a OES.
I'm,
Hey, man.
I'm definitely
Whatever.
getting a little more
Nothing
dark,
spicy.
like a cherry.
Yeah.
As the more I
Rye.
drink of this,
The more cherry is definitely coming out of this.
Yeah.
That little
Yeah.
bit of medicinality.
Yeah.
Medicinal cherry.
it's
Medicinal.
like it's
I
almost
think
like
I made up a word.
medicinality. I like
Medicinality.
it. Yeah, that and viscerality.
I was gonna say
Visceral.
Tyler's
These visceral bookers.
viscosity.
Viscerality.
Such a visceral
I
viscerality.
definitely make up words.
Let's do a thing. We know, Tyler. So let's do a thing. Who's got in their glass still?
We got a little bit.
Is that you,
You
chewing
struggling
over
over
there?
Who's chewing?
The fucking camel in the room's fucking strong. I'm just waiting for him to go, hey, you know what day it is? You know what day it is?
Hump day.
Everybody's funny. You turned up my microphone, so here.
I didn't. You just keep moving the mic further away from your mouth.
There we go. How's that?
Not good.
No.
That's worse.
You obviously
Not
pulled it
great,
away
Bob,
so you
not
could chew
great.
your sausage.
Now he can chew.
Well, now that if you're
right.
going to do ASMR into the mic, that's not good.
I was trying to chew my sausage.
God, he does that so well. We've got a lot of talent here in the voice acting
Hey,
in the room.
Hey, right there.
It's a sausages. That's
nice.
what we want. Yeah.
Do it again. Do it again.
It's so good. We want also sausages in our mouth. Yeah.
His wife gets so mad when he does that.
No, she gets so turned on. She grabs my schnitzel. She's probably never going to listen to this, and it's a good thing.
I'm going to text her a link to this episode. Hey, listen in about an hour and 12 minutes in.
We did not see that coming.
Did you say Nazi?
Yes. I mean, yeah.
His German fucking
Yeah,
is
no, it's good.
hilarious.
It's very good.
It's so good. So
pretty
so
good.
I feel like I'm literally having drinks with a Fuhrer.
right. So last year,
When I put on my glasses, I cannot see. But when I do, I can see Fuhrer.
so
I cannot see.
last year for 4th of July, they came over and hung out at our house for 4th of July. You did it this year, but the year before they
Yeah.
were there. And I bet you everyone left, him and his wife, fiance at the time, stuck around for probably an hour afterwards, and 30 minutes of that was him doing a fucking German accent, and she was getting so upset with him. It was the funniest fucking
We
thing.
legitimately didn't have sex for a month. I called her out on it. I was like, you'll never do that. She actually withheld for a month. The day that I was allowed to have sex again, she I swear to God, she actually wanted it. And I was like, oh, sweet, this is great. She was like, now I bet you're going to think twice before you do that German accent again. I was like, I bet you would never see this coming. She looks at me fucking deadpan and goes, guess who else is not coming? You can't be serious, right? She's like, no.
Another month?
An entire fucking month.
Dude.
Later, it was worth it.
It was worth it. That's never worth it.
That's never
Sorry.
worth it.
Yeah, sorry.
It was not the first.
Oh, fuck.
Well,
that is so
my
crazy.
girlfriend gets mad when I do my mom's voice for her.
Yeah.
She does not like that.
That's good though.
That's
That's
funny.
good. That's funny.
Yeah.
So there was somewhere I was going with this. Oh, yeah. Everyone who still has bourbon in their
Oh,
glass.
yes.
Let's hold these up, and we're going to drink these now so we can move on to the second
Like,
bottle.
we're going to chug this?
We're gonna
Chug is
there
a
a
strong
water
word.
It's more of a shot.
Chug's a strong word. This is you don't even have half an
Ron's
ounce
got
in your
quite
glass.
he just filled
Yeah,
his
I
up,
just
though.
poured
I have more than
I say
all of
you
you.
don't have to do
I
it,
have
Ron.
more than
Tell
all
me
of
Actually,
you.
he's got a
I've got more than all of you.
You're such a bad
No, I
influence.
think Ron has
No,
more.
Ron has you.
Ron's got
Ron
more-
has more than all of us.
Uncle Alon's got the more.
Ron has more than all of us. So Ron's going to chug this. It's his bottle, so it makes sense.
Come on.
The rest of us are
I
going to shoot
say
it.
he should savor it if he wants to.
Is there any
savor it, 'cause
is there
it was
any
his
tea
bottle.
up there?
I think
is
you
there any
should-
tea
There
left?
is. There's
not,
some
but I can brew more.
cubby wubby
No.
poop room tea,
Some-
apparently.
You want to pour some in your Lululemon
Shit,
fanny
one
pack?
time you just
Number one, it's a fucking belt bag. So back to
I
shit.
feel
on.
like I feel
Second
like
of all, I bought my girlfriend one and she loves it. She loves that fucking thing.
was it from Lululemon?
Yeah.
Yes, I knew it. Trina
It's-
has one
it's
too.
like that.
It can be a cross shoulder
Yeah.
and a fanny pack.
Yeah, she wears it
Trina
everywhere.
loves
Just
it.
sits right on her boob. Just like
Yes.
zip, boop,
and
boop.
it just makes the boob look presentable.
Yeah. I like when she opens.
You want to know the best part about them? 2 diapers, a bag of wipes, and 2 packs of goldfish crackers.
All fit in there.
Fits perfect.
Okay, so can we do something for the second half of this episode, please?
Sure. What do
Please,
you wanna do?
please.
We haven't
please.
reached the second
No.
half. How far are we?
Because we've only finished one bottle, and he's
My
he's
God,
milk.
we're
He's,
like
hey,
an hour and a half in.
Ron's got a nipple on his.
He's milking. Yeah.
All right, so
I'm drinking
for
sparkling
the
water.
second half of this, which will become episode 2. Okay.
Okay.
I'll do a new intro and all that stuff. Can we please do a huge favor for me, just for me? German accent the whole time,
Oh no.
Scottish accent the whole time,
Money.
fucking Jewish mother accent the whole time.
For how long?
Just the fucking whole episode.
No.
That's
Come
not
on.
You
gonna
don't
be-
have to do anything. That's why
I
you
have to
want it.
laugh and try not to laugh too hard because I'll be the moderator still. I think
You'll
as much
definitely
as
be
much
hard.
as you can. I'll be hard. There's no doubt about that. As much as we can.
How about use the voice more frequently?
Yes. That okay. Up it tremendously by 80%. By 80%.
that you can't really force that, so you've got
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You've got to give. Some,
I don't. Yeah.
Just please don't send
80%.
it. Please don't send it to his wife so he gets denied
I
for
won't.
another month.
I
No,
won't.
please do. I got laid
I hate.
yesterday.
I hate sex.
It's like a look right
I
back
hate
in her
someone.
face and do it again.
I'm gonna Snapchat it right now.
No, don't do that.
Oh, look at me!
you have the benefit of being gone for a week, so that'll be part of the clock.
I'm eating you on
She's
Vina.
leaving for a week after.
Are you changing?
So
seats,
there's
Tyler?
2
What's
weeks.
happening?
2 weeks of it's already in the
gonna
book.
come sit over
2
here.
weeks of no sex is already in the
Oh,
book.
so you can watch the game.
Yeah.
You all right, buddy?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So let's. How are
I'm
you
good.
doing
I'm
now?
gonna take a
Did
comfy
you
chair,
remove
though.
the nipple
Well, that's
yet?
where
Or
I
are
was
you
going
good?
to go with it.
You're about where I'm
You
at
don't
now,
go
right?
over there?
Here we go. Hey,
I was going to take the chair.
Oh,
Jason already finished
Oh, I
his.
thought you were sitting in
I
the
finished
stool.
mine. I couldn't
Josh?
wait for you anymore.
All right, 1, 2. Me. This is me and Ron. Ron looks like he's going to hurt after this.
We're good. Ready?
Here we go.
Are you uncomfortable? Are you uncomfortable right now?
That
All
was.
right, my butt can use a break.
That wasn't that bad.
I don't know. The look on Ron's face says otherwise.
It's funny when you go to sipping, and then you have to do something like this. It actually it's harder, I think, to shoot.
It's that floral note. Those floral notes, man. Ooh.
I told everyone to get a fucking bottle of water before we started, jackass.
He's gonna steal mine now.
Whose is this?
Tyler, we grab me a water?
Tyler, you can have some.
This is
I have
the,
not
this
drank
is
out
the
of this.
pause, right?
Yeah, pause.
Yeah, Tyler, can I have a water, please?
Grab that Luxor over there, would you please? The Luxor bottle.
All right, that brings us to the end of episode 1 of our 3-part bottle kill episode and Bourbon Trail recap. Join in next week as we continue on, and it only gets crazier from here as we continue drinking into that second bottle. Thank you for joining in for yet another episode of the Bourbon Hunters. If you like what you hear, please leave us a good rating on Apple, Podbean, Google, or wherever you are listening. It definitely helps us to get great guests on our show. And follow us on Instagram and the Facebooks to keep up to date with what is in our glass. As always, sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy some bourbon.